Hello, darlings. How are you? Today I'm talking about strength. Why we need it, why we will need it, and how we get it. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So let's talk Turkey here. No matter where look, and I'm talking about in the spiritual world, in the astrology world, and in the political world, it looks like we're coming up to a bit of a bumpy ride. Bumpy ride aplenty. So what have we got to do? Well, I was asking the emissaries about that. I said, what do you think is coming? And they said, what's coming is a time in which we are going to need lots of strength. And they used that word, and it was like the word strength came out as very important, strength. And I said, well, can you expand on that? What strength do we need? And they said, well, we'll tell you all of the strengths that you need to develop. And they listed them off. They said, we need mental strength, we need emotional strength, we need physical strength, we need spiritual strength, we need relationship strength, and professional strength. That's what they said. Okay, so let me give you an overview of what they said for each of those strengths. And what they said was that we need all of these strengths. It's like a 360 strength. We need a 360 strength. If we want to look at it like a metaphor, a wheel needs spokes. If it's missing spokes, it's going to be a bit wobbly. The same, if we're missing some of those strengths, we are not going to roll through this as smoothly as we could. So, intelligence strength. They said, make sure that you educate yourself properly. And they said that, and these were their words, don't educate yourself on the airy-fairy. And I mean, that's coming from the emissaries. I'm channeling some light beings from another dimension. And they said, don't get caught up and educate yourself on the airy-fairy, right? Well, so what they were meaning was, don't educate yourself on things that make you believe that something's going to happen that you don't need to do anything about. Whatever you might call it. Those mystical creatures who are just going to make everything happen, and we're just going to be there going, way. They said, no, don't educate yourself on that. They said, educate yourself on the things that you need to be able to move forward and be the best version of you. Yeah. So they said, maybe less time scrolling and more time educating yourself on getting new skills, getting new abilities. And I know loads of people, certainly in our Telegram group, the Peaceful Rebellion, you can join it if you're a nice person. The link's in the information. Many people are starting. I'm seeing them starting to do new projects, learn new skills, do new stuff. Beautiful. That's what this intelligence strength is all about. Then they said, okay, so intelligence strength, emotional strength. This goes without saying. It's something that we need to do. They said we need to shine light into all of the shadows that we have inside of us. It's part of the journey within. We've got to cleanse all of the shadows that we're carrying. Why? Because when we've got emotional hang-ups, emotional traumas, emotional things that haven't been resolved, it just makes it very difficult for us to be able to move forward. That's all. We're getting dragged behind, dragged back. So they said it's absolutely fundamental that you need to sort yourself out. If you sort it, beautiful. If you're not, if you know that you've got stuff that is unresolved, how do you know? Well, you just have to look at your behavior. Are there any times in your life where you behave like a child and you do things that are weird and that you don't understand and you don't like? That's the emotional baggage that we're carrying. 80, 90%, maybe more. I would say probably 95% of us all have emotional baggage that needs to be resolved. So that's also an important thing. Don't leave out your emotional body. Then we've got physical. What they said is physical strength is all about, their advice was do not believe anybody that tells you what is right for you in terms of exercise, the right exercise for you, the right diet for you, the right supplements for you. They said, don't just believe these random, like one size fits all people who say the only way is, to eat steak all day and drink fizzy water, or the only way is to do aerobic exercise, or the only way is to do heavy weights in the gym. Everybody, literally everybody's body is different. And what you need to do, you already know what works for you and you already know what doesn't work for you. You already know what foods are good for you and you already know what foods are bad for you. So it's a focus on getting yourself physically in good condition. When the body is strong, everything else can be strong. It's the foundation, isn't it? The body is the foundation upon which we build every other strength. So it's fundamental. There's no point in being the Buddha and being as fat as a Buddha, okay? Or whatever. Well, the Buddha wasn't actually fat. It was the other guy, wasn't it? The little man. But I don't think he was particularly healthy. He looked happy, but I don't think he was that healthy. We've got a job to do. We need to be, we're moving in astrological terms, into a place with Mars and Pluto and all of that, into a warrior mode. We're moving into a warrior mode. Warriors take care of themselves. They build up the strength. And it's on many levels, but physically is just as important as everything else. Then the spiritual strength. They said, do not accept any faith from anybody else. Don't take somebody else's faith. They said, just spend your time working, finding a faith that makes you happy, finding a faith that gives you hope. They said, if your faith isn't giving you hope, like a really exciting hope for the future, ditch it or manipulate it until it does. They said even atheists have a hope. They hope and they have faith. They have faith that there's nothing beyond this life. And they have a hope that the only thing that they can do is to make this life worthwhile because there's nothing after it. It's still a hope. Does it make them happy? I think it makes some of them happy because it makes them change the way that they want to live their life. And does it make others happy? Probably not. So there isn't one faith for everybody. And so they said very much, make your faith by bolting on the bits that you like, the bits that resonate with you, and create your faith. At the end of the day, nobody knows what's true. So your faith is your faith. Make it your own and make it strong. Make it something that faith without works is dead. But works without faith is dead too. If you're doing stuff and you haven't got faith in it, or you haven't got an excitement for the future, then that's not very good. And then professional strength. And they were talking about the work that we're doing. They said, ask yourself, is the work that I'm doing fulfilling my purpose or not? And that's basically the bottom line, is if your work is allowing you to fulfill your purpose, beautiful. If it isn't, change it. That's what they said. Change your work. Find something that allows you to fulfill your purpose. And also, going forward, the sense I get, and from every kind of guru that I'm listening to talking about the alignments of the stars, we're moving into a place of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are going to be the way forward, being an entrepreneur, coming up with your idea and making it happen. All of this working for the man, which we've all done, and I did for 20 years, working for the man is just not going to cut it anymore. That's not where you're going to find your bliss. Bliss is going to be in finding your thing and doing it really well and sharing it with others. And the last one they said was relationship strength. It was very important, this one. And they said you need to look at your relationships and decide who is it in the relationships that you share your life with. The people that are there that will laugh when you laugh, will cry when you cry, will support you, will always be there. They've got your back. They're the people that you need in your life. if you have relationships, toxic ones, whether that be in a marriage or in a partnership or in a friendship, if it's toxic, if they are not making you feel good, they said, you're probably best not to be in it. Now, I know that's not easy. And I know sometimes, as the expression goes, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your relatives. There's always one, isn't there, in the family, and think, oh my God. But it's spending time with those people. You're going to limit the time that you spend with people who make you feel toxic. And you're going to increase the time with people who love you. So that was the strength that we need going forward. Now, that's a lot to do. I mean, that's a lifetime's work. But what the analogy that they give me was this. They said, imagine you're in a car and the engine is a 6-cylinder engine. And I don't even know if engines still have cylinders. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. No idea. And even more so. And in the 6 cylinders, one spark plug isn't working. And I have a feeling that cars don't have spark plugs anymore either. But it doesn't matter. Most of you will understand that. So if a car is running and one spark plug is misfiring or it's not firing, what happens is it puts strain on every other cylinder. And if you run the car long enough with one cylinder that's not firing, it will break. And what they said is that's exactly like us. We've got to get all of our strengths strong. It doesn't mean that every single one of them is going to be the same strength. It doesn't mean that. It means that we've got them all flying in formation. We've got them all powerful. They said like that, nothing can stop you. When you have everything balanced and strong, nothing can stop you. They can't touch you because you've got the full complement. Which reminds me of a story. I went to a wedding once of a friend called Morris. He was marrying Hazel. And they were a funny little couple. I mean, they were very quirky, weird. Let's say that. In the wedding, Morris got up to make a speech. And in the speech, he said this. He said, in this life, some people catch just the mackerel. And he looked at his wife and he said, but I caught the whole whale. He didn't see the funny side. Everybody else was laughing their head off because his wife, she wasn't a slim lady. She was quite, fulsome. And it was just the most inappropriate analogy, metaphor, whatever you want to call it. Very inappropriate, but extremely funny. We want the whole whale. We want the whole kit and caboodle. We want all of our strength going. This is an ongoing process. We're always tweaking, just like a car. We're always having to tweak. But that's what the emissary said. Now is the time to build up our strength. We need it. We're going to have a bumpy ride. And they keep saying this. It's going to get a bit bumpy, but we're going to get through it. But the question is, imagine going through a bumpy ride and all of the suspension on your car is knackered. Or you go through a bumpy ride and the suspension's beautiful on your car. By the end of the journey, who's going to be the worse for wear? Well, the one with the knackered suspension. So if all of our strengths are in place and working, we'll go through this bumpy period, we'll fly through it, and we'll be strong enough to be able to help others who are struggling. So there you are. Strength time. It's time for strength. Let's do it, baby. I love you all and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.